Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rise. We're back at it again at Jaguar Land Rover St. Petersburg, and guess what? I have one heck of an interesting Porsche to share with you, and it's this vehicle right here. This is actually a 2016 Porsche 981 Cayman GT4. But before we get into this modded GT4, which has RS vibes to it, let's talk about what's going on here. Believe it or not, 2016 was the first year of the GT4. For a long time, Cayman fans really wanted to have that kind of essence of the 911 GT3. Now, with this car, it was close. It wasn't exactly a 911 GT3 spec engine and performance, but they really elevated the feel and, of course, that driving excitement from a mid-engine sports car, because remember, the Porsche 911 is a rear-engine sports car. Now, the Cayman first came out in 2005, obviously the hardtop version of the Boxster, which goes all the way back to the late 1990s. And with that Cayman being a mid-engine, it really has that pure 50-50 balance of driving performance. Now, just a few years ago, they came out with the elevated version of the GT4, known as the GT4RS. Part of the sad side to the 4RS is that you can't get it with that glorious 6-speed manual transmission. So this one has a bunch of mods to it to bring it up near that GT4RS spec. But what I want to find out is this modded GT4 the one to own? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this one and see if we can find out. Right off the bat, I hope you got your sunglasses on, because speed yellow is one of the brightest colors ever offered by Porsche, and it really does fit the attitude of the GT4, especially with this one inching towards that RS barrier. Now, at the front of the business, like I said, this is the 981 chassis GT4. The current one, which is about to meet its demise for model year 2025, that's the 718, the 718 chassis. Now, at the front end of the business, you still get that same headlight housing shape. It's the internals that's all changed, right? You got your HID headlights, your daytime running lamp, and then everything else nicely blended in the housing. But I like the way with Porsches, just like with the 911, the Cayman, it's a evolution of design, not a revolution. Now, this one is spec'd with the headlight washers. Not my favorite option. I'm gonna zonk it because I feel like it looks like a zit. I wanna get Dr. Pimple Popper in here, and I want her to pop that big zit on the front of this Porsche. There's actually two of them, of course. And normally you could get them painted body color, but these obviously are not. Working your way down, you have your LED daytime running lamp turn signals down below. Love the wire mesh finish. Fully functional to bring all that cool air. And this one has been modded with an extra long carbon fiber splitter. So just like on the GT4RS, it's got increased aero. This also has increased aero to bring it up to that RS spec. Another thing to think about is that this isn't going to break the bank like potentially a GT4RS will, well over $200,000. This one, far from that. Now, as we come across that low slung nose, like I said, that front end screams GT4RS, fully functional wire mesh in the center, no gloss black, and then that splitter is absolutely just perfect at the front of this vehicle. But let me know what you think about the nose on this GT4, this 2016 GT4. Now, as we rise up, you'll notice how the air comes in, air is dragged out, and it actually has the hood that's there to mimic a GT4 RS. So when you're looking at the hood, you have your two NACA ducts, carbon fiber NACA duct that's gonna bring air for the brake cooling. And then they did a very similar paint scheme that you can get on a GT4RS, where you have your speed yellow and then the gloss painted black, the shiny black finish. Really gives it that killer bee vibe. But let me know what you think about the face of this 2016 GT4. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with wheel and tire setup? So you're gonna notice our 20-inch wheels, gloss black, like the way it's got the yellow, speed yellow GT4 on the badge, speed yellow around the outer edge. Now, don't be fooled. This has been modded with painted 6-piston Brembo calipers that are yellow. These are not carbon ceramic brake rotors. They are the steel rotors, but you're still gonna get plenty of great braking capability. They're 2-piece rotors, fully cross-drilled. And then, if you're wondering, like I said, tire size, wheel size, 20-inch wheel. Tires up front are 245 on the width with a 35 series sidewall. And this one actually sits lower than your standard GT4. So it's actually been lowered even more to give it that lower center of gravity. Now, I like the way the splitter goes into the side canard. You have the clear marker lights. Normally these are bright orange. And then you'll notice we have a fender very similar to the GT4RS, fully functional to let that trapped air out from underneath the fender lining. So what can happen is, well, what does happen on a racetrack, air pressure builds up and it has nowhere to go. With this fender, it actually releases it. Now, one way to know that this is not an actual GT4RS is right here on the door. On the GT4RS, it actually has the body cut in to allow that airflow down the side of the vehicle. This is all smooth. But with that fender, the way it is, that screams GT4RS. Now, along the bottom, you have that side sill aero, all carbon fiber with the kick up at the back. Really, really like the way they added the GT4 side stripe. And I'm glad they didn't do a GT4RS side stripe because this isn't an actual RS. Speed yellow on our mirror caps. And then you have the black stripe that comes down into the rear glass, which just gives it a nice little pop to kind of break up the yellow. Interesting enough, just like on the YSAC edition of the GT4RS, you are getting the carbon fiber venting on the area where normally this is quarter glass. So it's interesting how they really took these mods to the next level. Down below, you got the black painted side air intake with the GT4, and that is fully functional. Lori's gonna let you take a peek in there, fully functional. Of course, this is rear wheel drive coming out towards the rear. Wrapped around these 20-inch wheels, we got those Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. And out back, you're actually looking at, on the width of this tire is 295. So we got a little bit more rubber to meet the road, still with those Brembo calipers all 4 corners, but like I said, they're not carbon ceramics. It does have a limited slip diff. And then swinging it around back, another way to tell that this is not an actual GT4RS, it doesn't have the swan neck rear wing. It's got the pedestal style, but you'll notice that it has modded risers that get the wing up higher than standard on a GT4. I like the way they did the speed yellow with the black and then the Porsche script across the wing. And obviously with this sitting up higher, it's gonna give you more downforce. We even have the ducktail kick-up spoiler on the rear hatch. Instead of the GT4 being an actual emblem, it's just vinyl to kind of blend in with that 4RS theme. And then working our way down to ground level, you got that nice, fully functional rear diffuser. And look at the name here, Akropovic titanium exhaust. Love the fact that we're gonna get that extra sound, because remember, when you look at the GT4RS, that's one of those things, is there's that extra sound coming from that GT3 derived engine. This engine comes from a different place. Let's pop this engine hatch and talk about it. All right, guys, there's a couple zonks when it comes to this GT4, actually any GT4, is that first of all, those carbon fiber air intakes to make it look like a GT4RS are just stuck on. The glass is actually behind it. So they're not functional, that's a big zonk, but it does give the style of a 4RS. Another thing with the GT4 is you can't see the freaking engine. On a 4RS, they get rid of the cargo liner, and you can actually see the air box with the air intakes that come in from the corners, but Lori will show you that there's just glass sitting back there. But what do we have underneath this engine compartment? You're looking at a 3.8 liter flat six. So if you get a 2020 or newer GT4, that uses a 4 liter. It's been bumped up to 4 liters. This is a 3.8 liter. It's taken from the 911 and obviously bumped up when it comes to performance. It is a flat six, 385 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. There was only one transmission available back in 2016. It's the Raiti transmission. Manual 6-speed, 0 to 60, if you know what the heck you're doing, around 3.7 seconds. Top speed, 183 miles an hour. Here's the crazy thing. The vehicle only weighs 2,980 pounds. That is where the driving performance comes into play. But why don't we go ahead? We got the flat six. It redlines at 8,000 RPM, not 9,000 RPM like a GT4RS, but we do have that Akropovic exhaust. Let's go ahead. Let's fire up this honeybee and see it sting. All right, guys, we're in it to win it inside this 2016 Porsche 981 Cayman GT4. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, dang, this thing looks like a GT4RS. I thought when I went to go click on the video, it was a GT4RS. And I know GT4RSs go for more than $200,000. How much is this one? Very good question. This particular 2016 modded GT4 has an asking price of $106,000. So big difference. We're talking about over $100,000 difference in what you could usually find a GT4RS for. But let's see what this 2016 is all about and how it's spec'd. To the door panels. Love the leather, and then how they brought the yellow to the inside. You have your yellow contrast stitching. That's the actual speed yellow body color on the trim, and of course the yellow tethers, just like a GT4RS, on the door handles. Race text, which is Porsche's speak for Alcantara, and you have that Twinkie yellow stitching right below that. In the center is a nice area. Lori's gonna pull it open with her hand, actually. You could put your Twinkies in there, 13 Twinkies, no problem. And then, of course, being a German car, you could put your bratwurst, 2 bratwursts in that front holder there. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, more of that leather, the stitching. You can see on the 981 chassis, this was the style of the AC vents, different than a 718. Your speed yellow, open the door. You got those great, very unique cup holders, but you're not drinking in my Porsche. I don't care if it's water or not. You're not drinking anything. More of that race text. We have our Nürburgring Nordschleife Twinkie holder. If you're wondering what is this for, it is for the battery tender. So you can plug in your battery tender. You do have the option for the fire extinguisher from the factory. And then slide on in your sport chrono clock. Wasn't on top of the dash. It's actually integrated into the dash. Much cleaner than the newer 718 chrono clocks. You can see how instead of round AC vents, it was more like a square rectangle-esque going on. You got your 7-inch infotainment system with navigation. That's all you need. That's all you need. CD player, so you could get all your greatest hits and be able to rock out with your CDs. Maybe get some 2 Live Crew, maybe some Run DMC, Beastie Boys, whatever is fitting your mood. Real knobs, which is great, and then you're going to have your standard AC controls. That's for your temperature, that's for your blower fan. Everything else is real buttons. And then look at what we have here. Not only is it a slick shifting, one of the best 6-speed manuals ever, but we have a carbon fiber shift knob with the race text, even on the shift boot here, the GT4 badge, and then just very few buttons, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with these dead buttons because these are things for, like, you know, if you're gonna have heated seats, ventilated seats, things like that. That's stuff that this car is not about. You open this up, you do got a little place to put your Tic Tacs or your Mentos. More of that race text, open it up. You got a place for an iPhone 47, and iPhone 47 Max actually, and there is a 12 volt, and then this has the carbon bucket seats. GT4 embroidery, you can actually see the visible carbon fiber, the race text, the bolstering. They aren't very maneuverable, but boy, once you're in like Flynn, and you're gonna feel like a freaking race car driver, especially with the speed yellow seat belts. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower, and race text all over the headliner. But why don't you get your booty over here? I want to show you behind the carbon fiber infused wheel in this GT4. All right, guys, we are on the side you want to be, the business end. You have that nice aluminum sill plate with the GT4 badge, pedal box right out of a race car. Nice size dead pedal, clutch, brake, and throttle. You could do your own heel toe downshifting, or this does have automatic rev match downshifting. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have plenty of room in here. When it comes to seat controls, the only electric part is this. This is for lifting and lowering the seat. There is no adjusting the back because it's one solid piece of carbon fiber that you're sitting in. And then of course you can make your adjustments sliding the seat. Now, I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom. The way they shape their interiors, whether it's a 911 or this GT4, perfectly shaped. The key is on the left-hand side, which is the correct side. This was started by Porsche back during the days of early endurance racing so that the drivers could start the car up and get the car into gear to roll way faster. Now I'm going to shut the engine off real quick here because I wanted to show you that this has the custom speed yellow key fob. That's an option. And then you have your buttons, and then you actually use this to start the car up. Just like that. Now, when it comes to visibility, absolutely fantastic. And then of course you have that race text wrapped steering wheel with the yellow stitching, the carbon fiber. It is manual adjustment, and whoever optioned this did get the leather wrapped steering column with the stitching. In the center there, you got that tachometer that goes all the way up to 7,500 RPM. And you have your digital display here where you could scroll through different information. I prefer this setup rather than a full big digital display readout. Just, I don't know, it just more of that classic feel with that analog tach. And then obviously everything well sorted in here. Now, I showed you the cargo area when I popped the rear hatch. That has about almost 8 cubic feet of space. Underneath the hood, we have 5 cubic feet of space, but I'm not going to show it to you. You know why? Because I'm going to give you what you want. I know you want it. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in the GT4. All right, guys, we are inside this 2016 Cayman GT4 with all these mods. And if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle! Wow. This thing is unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. Just so wired into your freaking brain, man. It's like all the neurons in your brain are firing and it's going directly to this car. The steering is so freaking on point. The 6-speed manual is one of the best in the industry. Each gear is just click, 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 click with such precision. And then the sound of that exhaust. And the car is just so buttoned up. It's so planted because of the extra aero, because the car sits a little lower. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Clutch feels great. It's not heavy. It's got a good pickup point to it. Visibility is fantastic. Even out the back, because now the wing is well out of the way. You ready though? Here we go. On throttle! On the brakes. Wow. Wow. This car is just mind-blowing. Absolutely, positively mind-blowing. The mods have taken this to a GT4RS level, especially when it comes to the sound. And remember, the engine is right behind us. It's not in a separate compartment. It's literally right there. That's what I love about these. It's right there. Love the pops, the bangs. It's all real sound. Nothing is being piped in through any speakers or any of that crap. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You ready? On throttle! Pulls all the way to red line. Very linear. Nice, nice. Brakes are phenomenal. Even though we don't have the carbon ceramic brakes, they are phenomenal. Love the way it handles. The feedback, the precision. Holds a line so well. I feel like I'm in Nirvana, man. I've reached Nirvana with this car. Because it is that freaking good. It is that freaking good. Oh my God, this thing. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. On throttle! The torque delivery is so linear, and yeah, you gotta wait for the R's to climb, but man, it just goes all the way. Super smooth, super duper smooth. These carbon bucket seats, they're a bear to get in and out of, but once you're in, they are so comfy and they hold you right in place. Ready? Here we go. Nice, 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 nice. I'm speechless. I don't even know what the heck to say. Unbelievable. This is like a freaking race car, man. Even more so than what the 4RS is like. They did a phenomenal job with modding this car. Oh my God. And like I said, much cheaper than a GT4RS. That's the difference. But we're gonna go ahead. We need to get back to Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete. I gotta wrap this one up before I get myself into big trouble. It's all the Porsche's fault. That's all I can say. But I'll see you in a split second. Oh boy, oh boy. Now I know that in this world we need obviously bees. We need honeybees to pollinate the flowers. But boy, oh boy, do we need cars like this killer bee because of that awesome driving experience. But I gotta thank everybody at Jaguar Land Rover St. Pete, especially Miro, getting us this very unique modded 2016 GT4 that's that on the cusp GT4RS. Let me know your thoughts about it. Do you like the direction of this car? Would you take your money and just get a little bit more, save a little bit more, and then go get an actual 4RS? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised By family. Got to give it up to Latte Lori. She is loving killer bees, and she loves 6-speed manual transmission cars. So show her some love in the comments. Thank you, Latte Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.